October 14th, 2025. Microsoft just told 400 million people that their computers are now officially junk. Not because they're broken, not because they're slow, but because they're missing a chip that Microsoft suddenly decided everyone needs. Your computer worked fine yesterday. Today, Microsoft says it's obsolete. And get this, the company forcing this change just hit a $3.8 trillion valuation. They're making more money than ever. So why does Windows feel worse than ever? This is the story of how Microsoft made $138 billion while making you miserable. And more importantly, why does Microsoft keep making decisions that seem to work against the very people using their product? Let's rewind. August 9th, 1985. Redmond, Washington. Bill Gates walks into a room full of reporters and unveils Windows 1. It's clunky, it's slow. It crashes constantly. But it's the beginning of something massive. Over the next 2 decades, Windows becomes the operating system. Not because it's the best, but because it's everywhere. Your school computer, Windows. Your office, Windows. Your grandma's desktop with the sticky keyboard, also Windows. By the late 90s, Microsoft had won. They controlled over 90% of the desktop market. And when you control the market, you control the rules. Remember Internet Explorer? Microsoft didn't just make a browser, they forced it onto every Windows machine. Competitors like Netscape didn't stand a chance. The US government sued Microsoft for antitrust violations. Bill Gates sat in a deposition, dodging questions like a politician. But here's the thing, Microsoft won that fight too, not in court. They settled, but snorts in practice. Because by then, Windows was too big to fail. The pattern was set. Dominate the market, then dictate the terms. Fast forward to 2014, Microsoft is struggling. The company that once dominated personal computing is watching the world move on. iPhones are everywhere. Google is eating their lunch. And Windows 8 just became one of the most hated operating systems in history. Bill Gates steps down. A new CEO takes over, Satya Nadella. And Nadella has a plan. We need to move to the cloud. He tells the board, subscriptions, services, recurring revenue. See, Microsoft used to make money by selling you Windows once. You'd pay $100, install it, and that was it. They got their money. You got your software. But Nadella looked at companies like Netflix and Spotify and thought, what if we could charge people every single month instead? So, Microsoft pivoted hard. They launched Office 365. No more buying Office once. Now you rent it forever. They pushed OneDrive. Your files aren't on your computer anymore. They're on Microsoft servers. They build Azure, massive cloud infrastructure that corporations pay billions to use. And it works spectacularly. Microsoft's stock price tripled, then quadrupled. The company went from struggling to becoming the second most valuable company on earth. But here's where things get interesting. To make this cloud strategy work, Microsoft needed something. They needed you, the person using Windows at home, to be connected to their services all the time, whether you wanted to be or not. And that's when Windows started to change. Not to make your life easier, but to make Microsoft's business model work. Here's what happened next. Windows 10 launched in 2015. At first, it seemed fine. Clean interface, pre-upgrade. People were cautiously optimistic. But then, the changes started. Small at first, easy to ignore. Ads began appearing in the Start menu. Not for your programs, for Microsoft's programs. Candy Crush, OneDrive, Office 365. You paid for Windows, but now Windows was advertising to you. It's like buying a car and having the dashboard show you ads for the dealership's financing options every time you turn it on. Then came the forced updates. Imagine this. You're in the middle of work. Important deadline. Your computer suddenly says, we're updating now. You can't stop us. Your files, better hope you save them. Your meeting, better hope it can wait 45 minutes while Windows installs updates you never asked for. Microsoft's reasoning? It's for security. The reality? You no longer controlled when your computer worked. Next came the Microsoft account requirement. Remember when you could just use your computer without logging into anything? Those days were ending. Microsoft wanted you signed in always so they could track what you do. what apps you use, what websites you visit. They called it telemetry, said it was to improve the experience. But what it really meant was this. Microsoft now knew everything about how you used your computer, and they were selling that information to advertisers. Then OneDrive became unavoidable. Constant notifications. Back up your files to OneDrive. You're running out of OneDrive space. Upgrade to OneDrive Premium, your computer's hard drive. That's so 2010. Microsoft wanted your files on their servers where they could charge you monthly rent to access your own documents. Rob Braxman, a programmer who once had Bill Gates demo his software on stage, put it this way: "I've never encountered so much resistance to moving to a newer version. Microsoft has truly gone crazy." You are not a Microsoft slave. You own your device. But Microsoft didn't care about the complaints. Because here's the thing. Home users don't matter to Microsoft anymore. You know who does matter? Corporations. Businesses that pay millions for Windows licenses. Companies that need Office 365 for thousands of employees. Enterprises running Azure cloud services. In 2025, Microsoft made $252 billion in revenue. Over half of that, $138 billion, came from cloud services. Home users, we're a rounding error. So when you complain that Windows is getting worse, Microsoft hears you. They just don't care because you're not paying their bills anymore. The corporations are. And the corporations want control. They want tracking. They want forced updates so employees can't skip security patches. Whatever works for corporate IT departments is what everyone else gets. And then came Windows 11, where everything got so much worse. October 14th, 2025. Windows 10 reaches end of life. 400 million people are still using it. That's 40% of all Windows users. Microsoft's message is clear. Upgrade to Windows 11 or you're on your own. No more security updates, no more support. So millions of people try to upgrade and they get this message. This PC can't run Windows 11. Wait, what? Their computer works fine. It's fast. It's modern. Some of these machines are only 3 years old. But Microsoft says, no, you can't upgrade. Why? Because of a chip called a TPM2. TPM stands for Trusted Platform Module. It's a security chip that stores encryption keys. Now, on the surface, this sounds reasonable. Better security, right? But here's what they don't tell you, that TPM chip has a unique identifier, like a fingerprint for your computer. And Windows 11 ties that identifier to your Microsoft account permanently. This means Microsoft now has a permanent, unchangeable ID for your device. They know exactly which computer you're using always. Third-party apps can access this ID through Microsoft's API, no restrictions. Advertisers, analytics companies. Anyone Microsoft gives access to your device is now tagged, tracked, identified. As Rob Braxman explains, the TPM module is a device identifier. It gives out a unique ID, and Microsoft stores it in the cloud, tied to your account. But it gets worse. Windows 11 also enables something called BitLocker by default. It's disk encryption. Sounds good, right? Your data is encrypted, secure, except the recovery key for your encrypted drive. Microsoft stores that in the cloud tied to your Microsoft account. So your drive is encrypted, but Microsoft holds the key. And if you try to do something Microsoft doesn't like, say install Linux alongside Windows, BitLocker can lock you out of your own computer. Rob Braxman experienced this firsthand with his new Lenovo laptop. The moment I turned off Secure Boot to install Linux, BitLocker locked up my drive. I lost everything, had to start from scratch. This is the core of the crisis. Microsoft has decided that they own your computer, not you. They control when it updates. They control what operating systems you can run. They control whether you can even access your own files. And if your computer doesn't have the chip they want, too bad, buy a new one. Perfectly good computers, machines that could run for years, are now classified as e-waste. Not because they're broken, but because Microsoft said so. The environmental impact alone is staggering. Millions of computers thrown away, millions more manufactured to replace them, all so Microsoft can have more control. But why? Why force everyone to upgrade? Why require these specific chips? The answer? AI. Microsoft invested $13 billion into OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. It's one of the largest bets Microsoft has ever made, and they need it to pay off. Enter Windows Copilot, Microsoft's AI assistant built directly into Windows 11. The pitch sounds incredible. An AI that sees what you see, hears what you hear, remembers everything you do, helps you with any task. Your personal AI companion. The flagship feature is called Recall. Here's how it works. Every few seconds, Windows takes a screenshot of whatever you're doing. The AI analyzes it, stores it, indexes it. Over time, Windows builds a complete visual history of everything you've ever done on your computer. Every website you visited, every document you opened, every email you read, every password you typed, all stored, all searchable, all analyzed by AI. Microsoft says this is convenient. You can search your history using natural language. Show me that document I was working on last Tuesday. But here's the problem. Security researchers found that Recall's database isn't properly protected. Malware can access it, hackers can access it, anyone with physical access to your computer can access it. As one security expert put it, hackers now have a treasure trove. They don't just get your most recent email, they get every screenshot your computer has ever taken. Your banking details, your passwords, everything. The backlash was immediate and severe. Microsoft pulled the feature before launch. They eventually brought it back with better encryption and made it opt-in instead of automatic. But the damage was done. People realized what Microsoft was building, a system where your computer watches everything you do, records it, analyzes it, stores it. And this is why they need the TPM chip, why they need BitLocker, why they need Windows 11. Because to run AI that powerful, they need hardware that can handle it. They need encryption to protect the data. They need device IDs to track everything. The entire Windows 11 architecture is built around this AI future, a future where your computer isn't a tool you control. It's an AI companion that watches you, learns from you, makes decisions for you. Microsoft calls it agentic computing. The AI acts as your agent. But when Microsoft's president of Windows tweeted about this vision, the response was brutal. Nobody wants this except the parties you're selling our data to. Stop this nonsense. No one wants this. You live in a Twitter bubble. It's evolving into a product that's driving people to Mac and Linux. And here's the irony. Microsoft stock is at an all-time high. The company is worth $3.8 trillion. Shareholders are thrilled. But the users, the people who actually use Windows every day, they're miserable. So here we are. This isn't incompetence, it's strategy. Microsoft stopped optimizing for user experience and started optimizing for shareholder value. Every controversial decision, forced accounts, OneDrive integration, TPM requirements, AI surveillance serves that goal, and the numbers back it up. Enterprise adoption of Windows 11 has passed 60% and is ahead of schedule. Microsoft 365 subscriptions grew 26% from 2022 to 2024. Azure revenue is up 29% year over year. Stock price up 154% since Windows 11 launched. By every metric that actually matters to Microsoft shareholders, this strategy is working. Windows still dominates at 73% of the desktop market. Microsoft has decades of software compatibility, enterprise relationships, and market inertia on their side. So the question isn't whether Microsoft will change based on the financial incentives. They won't, not voluntarily. The question is whether enough users will leave to force their hand.